let's start here. We have seen a media statement that you have released whereby you are expressing a deep concern about the planned national shutdown, which is led by the opposition party EFF. In your own view, you have viewed that shutdown as a irresponsible conduct by the opposition party. Why are you saying that?
The point we are making is a point which arises from a very important meeting that the Premier of the Free State has convened among very strategic stakeholders. And we're saying that we're at the point where our economy is confronted with many challenges. I mean, I can take you back, I think, as far as 2008, where the world got flu when one market in US was sneezing, what was called the financial meltdown. Recently, we've had challenges around COVID. And of course, all of us now would also appreciate that the energy challenges are also having very monumental challenges on the economy. Our people are hardest hit, especially the poor and the workers. And we're saying that we're at the point where we need to deepen the agenda of economic recovery and reconstruction, where everybody else, because in terms of issues of the economy, our people have got to participate and benefit. Now, any irresponsible conduct of calling a shutdown is not in the best interest of our province and our country, and certainly our people are not going to benefit from yet another crisis, which is created for any other reason, which is not in the interest of the people. In as much as people have got a right contained in the Constitution to demonstrate their dissatisfaction, the right to strike, but a call for total shutdown will hurt the economy and will continuously deepen the crisis which is confronting our people. And we're saying as a department, we want to take this opportunity and issue a message to particularly our stakeholders that you have a role to play to defend democracy, to deepen democracy, and ensure that it works. And how it works in terms of the economy is that we're now at a path where there are very important milestones that we have achieved. I can indicate that the state of the province address, Premier has outlined very key and strategic interventions that we're going to have to do with regard to job creation. The very important interventions that we're going to have to do as a province to contribute towards the national effort to deal with the energy crisis. And many other important interventions, of course, from the point of view of social services, social security net, which are also important to be able to allow us to come closer to defeating poverty. Now, shutdown, for whatever reason, is not going to help us. Our people are not going to benefit from it because even its results will not go anywhere to help anything. And that's why we're saying they must rise, they must defend their own country. More than anything, they must defend democracy and ensure that the democracy works for them. We are outlining our plans as a province. Immediately after the state of the province address, each and every department is going to outline their plan arising from the state of the province address in terms of how, in the next coming financial year, we're going to confront these immediate challenges of our people. It's a plan that is in the short term, it is in the medium term, and in the long term. And that's the plan that, in the words of the Premier, we can only give our people hope so that they rise and they become their own liberators to fight poverty and unemployment. And our views is basically based on that more than anything else.
All right. MEC, in their statement, Economic Freedom Fighters EFF leader indicated that This March, it's also addressing some of the issues that you have highlighted about the impact of COVID-19, which has created high unemployment crisis. Our economy is also having crisis. We also have energy crisis. So it's mainly about the high cost of living. But in your province, as the MEC who's responsible for this department of DST, what is it that you are doing with various business formation to come up with practical solutions in terms of rebuilding the economy that is already struggling so that you can deal with issues of challenges like poverty, inequality, and unemployment?
Look, our role as government, driven by this department in the province, largely, is to ensure that an economy that is evolving, that is growing, we are able to be part of it, contribute as government, influence it in such a manner that as it grows, it is able to attend to these issues we're talking about. Economy can grow, and it may not create employment. It may not even come closer to defeating poverty. It can elevate other interests, particularly of those who are at the center of driving the economy. Now, the role of government is to ensure that, because the character of the economy of a constitutional democratic country like ours is to ensure that it grows the economy in such a way that it becomes loyal to the objectives of the country. And which are those objectives? You are outlining them. Defeat poverty. Come closer to ensuring that we create much needed quality jobs.
Sure.
But at the same time, transform the economy so that all social groups participate and they also become owners of the economy. As I'm saying to you, State of the Province Address has outlined many strategic things. For instance, it says, in this financial year, make sure that we come closer to creating about 50,000 jobs, just through government effort.
Sure.
And that will be over and above what the private economy is creating or should create, as we play our role as government to influence it, as I indicated, towards it to be biased towards these challenges that me and you are indicating and are articulating. So that's where we are. Very soon, all departments, the Department of Economy is just a driver. All departments will contribute. For instance, the department that will be tasked to roll out infrastructure. It plays a number of important responsibilities. One, create immediate jobs.
Sure.
Two, increase the livelihoods of our people, quality roads, and everything else. And the multiplier effect of such an infrastructure rollout. Ensure that our people participate. Ensure that the value chain beneficiation is also being pursued. Where do you buy the cement? Where do you get all these important ingredients in building a school, in building a road? And that's why we're saying that arising from what the Premier said, departments will be in line with the spirit that give our people our hope, but it must not be abstract. Sure. We must demonstrate it in practice. So very soon we'll be outlining that. And it will be a very comprehensive statement that does not only speak about the plans of the department, because our responsibility is broad and very comprehensive in terms of influencing economy and ensuring that the economy works. And that's why we have a relationship also with the private sector. For instance, I'm sure we'll be allowed to say in the budget vote that we need to convene what is called the investment summit. We need to ensure that at a particular point we bring captains of industry with small business to come together and say, that how can we work together? But fundamentally, ensure that when all those things are happening, we transform it. We bring on board your SMMEs, we bring them support. Where we can, we give them money and ensure that they participate. So It's a very comprehensive plan and thinking to ensure that come this financial year, with the little that we have as a Free State province, we are able to contribute largely in a manner that it is in the interest of the people, not any other thing.
Sure. In your response to this question, you have highlighted the issue of 50,000 jobs for young people, which when your party, the ANC, released that as a Lekgotla resolution, people were saying that is so ambitious to create 50,000 jobs in the province. Now, what is it that we can expect? And also, looking at your 2023-24 budget vote, in terms of you coming with a drastic and radical measures of how you are going to create those employment, what is it that we can expect?
Ensure that departments don't work in silos. It is the entirety of the provincial government that should ensure that particular task. It's not the department of the state. The department of the state brings the thinking to say, let's work differently in a particular way. Let me make an example.
Sure.
If public works build what is the thing? If the Department of Agriculture supports an emerging farmer who would plant cabbage, who will plant tomatoes, the Department of Education must be able to buy those things from that particular farm. And in terms of our concept, that's what we call value chain beneficiation. That it is a recourse which we must leverage as we define the role of government. It doesn't abandon that through policy and engagement, we will still engage the private sector. Private sector must still play its role. But we're saying, let's ensure that charity starts its home. Let's bring together all these departments. You'll see, if you go through the analysis of the budget speech,
sure,
it reinforces a very inspiring portion which goes to billions that will be making these interventions in the economy. The Department of the State will only ensure that there's a thinking, and this thinking brings everybody on board. Whatever that you do there at the corner of your department must resonate with the vision that the Premier has played. Department must relate because they are interconnected in terms of our task of providing services to our people. And that's one of the areas which we're planning to champion so that there are no silos. We are able to do it in such a manner that it works on our people. Of course, you can't only rely on it. I make an example about investment. And we said the National Developmental Finance Institution, to what an extent are they playing this role in the Free State? We've got to vigorously engage them. We have a view that we don't think that they're playing a sufficient role. We don't have much to even allocate to our developmental finance institution called FDC. We're engaging in a battle. How do we achieve a difficult balance of pushing social security net? Our people are hungry and dying. Some are starving out of poverty. And those interventions have got to be made.
Sure.
But at the same time, economy has got to be driven and it must be biased towards our people. It's a difficult balancing that has got to be done, but the state has got to drive that. So this is what we're talking about, and these issues will be vividly clear arising from the budget votes of the department. We'll come back to the media and say, that school that has been built there, it's not outside this particular agenda.
Sure.
And locate that school within an understanding of economic contribution. And we'll explain to our people that they must not take for granted the issue of infrastructural rollout, the issue of ensuring that the department works in a manner that they are interconnected, they relate to each other. No 10 rand must be spent without it having an implication towards the economic interventions. One of the things that we're identifying is that the smaller budget of this province of the Free State must be spent in the province. We will outline what we mean by that in detail without antagonizing other areas of our country. So these are some of the approaches we're going to adopt differently to ensure that we drive this thing that we believe will work ultimately.
All right. Before we get to the last question or our last point, You are seen as one of the MECs that have been appointed in this new ESCO as a young person. Some have reacted to say that this cabinet of premium policy, it is fresh and young, which is expected to bring innovative ideas. Young people in local municipalities are unemployed. Some they are looking for job. Some they want to establish their businesses, but they do not have enough support. Why is it important for your department to have strong relations with municipalities in the Free State?
That's just one of my passions. That we can't operate in silos. There's got to be a relationship between provincial government led by DESTEA in terms of matters of the economy to have a relationship with municipality. So that the same understanding of what provincial government has got to do, municipalities are also able to do so. We will engage them within the context of the intergovernmental relations and say, how much of your percentage are you spending to ignite the economy? To an extent, the young people participating. How are you able to provide them both with intellectual support, but where you can, with tangible resources?
Sure.
Because theory alone won't help. In as much as it is important, because all of these actions must be guided by a theory that says we're taking this thing somewhere. So we want municipalities to upscale in terms of local economic development. We have a view that we don't think that there was sufficient focus towards local economic development. And that's why, that there's an outcry on the ground. But you must also appreciate that local government is the level of government that is closest to the people, and our people tend to blame it on each and everything. And that's why this cooperation has got to be strengthened. It must ensure that it becomes effective and works for our people. We will never have any plans in the province about how do we take this province somewhere without an input and participation of municipalities through their local economic development. Otherwise, then we have a very fundamental problem of people who are in the same house, but they can't relate in ensuring that the household is sustainable. There's food, somebody is able to provide security. All of these things being interrelated, interconnected, and they are comprehensive to confront a particular problem, which a problem is our collective responsibility, and it's affecting all of us. So the silo mentality has got to be undermined. IGR, in terms of provincial government and municipalities, must be strengthened.
Missy, last question from our side. The national shutdown obviously will be happening, but you have infrastructure that you have to protect, especially your department is dealing with tourism. Tourists are still looking forward to see that infrastructure. They still want to interact with some of these works that are done by the Department of Public Works. What is your last message to the law enforcement agencies that are working there in Free State in terms of approaching this national shutdown?
I've made a point about how compressed is our budget. It's extremely low. It will be a miracle that out of such we will achieve anything tangible, and that's why it requires strategic thinking.
Sure.
Tourism is one of the areas which must ensure that we increase our fiscal capacity. That small injection by anybody who is able to visit our province will go a long way so that we increase economic activity, jobs are created, and then poverty is being confronted heavily. We can't afford that every time when our people are angry about water and they go and burn the school and they burn this infrastructure, which is very important for our tourism. Free State is a very, very strategic province in terms of its location. We can't fail to ensure that anybody who passes through our province, I think we're connecting about 4 to 6 provinces, including another country, which is Lesotho, very closest to us.
Sure.
People are crisscrossing the world, the country, through the Free State. And it is a leverage for tourism. And we can only appeal to our people that this is not government infrastructure. It is your infrastructure. Not only that is intended to improve your livelihood, but also it is also intended for recreational purposes, that our people must live in environment where the mood is the mood of a human spirit of living together as human beings.
Sure. The MEC for the Department of Economic, Small Business Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs in the Free State, DESTEA Thabo Meeko. MEC, thank you so much for your time and engaging with us. We'll talk for next time.
It is our pleasure. Thank you very much for giving us an opportunity.
All right.